I would ask you please to rise so we can say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now if we could have a moment of silence for our first responders, some of whom we've lost this past couple of weeks. Please, our prayers are with them and their families. Policemen, firefighters, all those ambulance corps, all those fine people who serve us. Thank you. Okay. First, let me introduce our members, wonderful members who we have tried to keep up with one another in these weeks. It's been a little difficult. Barbara?
Barbara Liefeld.
Yes.
Daryl Lindholm.
Jenny Menton.
Rosemary Panio?
Maria Fama.
Joe Falcone, Liaison Recreation Commission.
Noreen O'Driscoll?
Ed Lachman, Councilman, Liaison to the Board.
Wonderful. I'd like to thank our lunch sponsor, New York Presbyterian Hudson Valley Hospital, who's always so generous with us. And today I would like to introduce a gentleman who has just been honored, the new chair of the Jefferson Village Veterans. Brian, where are you, Brian? Brian Sillick has just been... Would you like to say a few words and tell us what your organization is about?
Why, certainly. Jefferson Village.
He can pick her up.
Yeah. I get to go to the podium.
Everybody goes to the podium
I sort of like that Vanna White type.
Jefferson Village Veterans Club. And it's made up of about 100 members. Any meeting, there's between 50 and 75 people that do attend. We have women's auxiliary volunteers. They crochet beautiful blankets, and we donate them to the veterans at Montrose. And we provide various functions. We are going to be in the parade, both Veterans Day and Memorial Day. Very nice. Mr. Matt Slater and the town board have offered to supply the buses in case there's people, which there are, that can't or won't or can't walk. And we're looking forward to that. A number of things planned. We meet almost every month. JOC, Jefferson Owners Corporation, is very good to us. We have a separate building that they use for functions that they let us use. We have a luncheon once a year. They provide Veterans Day, no charge. They run a raffle on Halloween, and the monies are donated to ourselves, first responders, fire department, and so forth, which is very generous of them. And we're very lucky to have them. We're lucky to have the support of the town of Yorktown and Chief Noble and everybody else. And
Thank you.
I thank you all.
Thank you
Thank
for your
you.
service. Thank
Oh.
you.
Are you open to all veterans?
Pardon me?
Are you open to all veterans or just people that live in Jefferson Village?
It's just Jefferson Village. You have to live there, but you can buy there. We'll take you in. It's a nice place to live. It really is, and it's patrolled by Chief Noble, so things can't be any better.
That's right. We love the village people.
Thank you for having me
Thank
here.
you. Thank you.
If I may jump in with that to answer the question, there are other veteran groups in town as well. So we have the VFW, we have an American Legion Hall, we have members as Brian is Purple Heart. We have a fraternal Order of Purple Hearts. So we have other avenues, and on the third Wednesday of every month, there's a Veterans Advisory Committee meeting that is very participatory from the people that are in attendance.
And Edward Lockeman is a member of the Sons of...
Yes, we also have thank you. We have a Sons of the American Legion. If you are the son of a father or grandfather who served in the military, you could actually do service in their honor. Yes, Jim?
Is there a list either on our website, the town website or anywhere else where it says all the different opportunities for veterans?
There should be. I know we spoke about getting something up, and some information was given. I think on the Veterans Advisory page, it should be there. I'll take a moment to recognize in our room right now. We also have Jim Maturano from Parks and Recreation, our town clerk Diana
gonna do
Kloss.
that, but thank you.
No problem. And walking in, Councilman Tom Diana.
And
And Supervisor Matt Slater's in the
Slater.
back too. Sorry, you're just a silhouette right now with my eyes.
well, thank you very much. One of the, of course, we want to honor you, Brian, but I want to remind the seniors that there are many volunteer opportunities in the town if you feel that you'd like to do something. The library, for instance, who is going to be here next month, the new director of the library will be here. And she will also have with her Ellen Tannenbaum, who's the head of adult services for the library. You know, they do an awful lot at J.C. Hart, and they are always looking for volunteers. So this is an example of what you can do in your community if you'd like to, you know, have a little outlet and do something nice. Okie dokie.
Scams, he scams. Scam.
Did we introduce all of our
Yeah, but
members? Yes,
she'll
we
beat
did,
you for
right?
that. You
Okay.
know that.
Okay. I'd like to thank our lunch sponsor once again and congratulate Brian. And I'd like to introduce someone who doesn't need an introduction, our Yorktown Police Chief, Robert Noble, who is going to talk about safety.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Now, importantly, Tom, can you hear me back there? Okay. All right. Very good. I'd like to thank the board for having me here, Ms.
Thank
Panio.
thank
Thanks
you for
calling me
coming.
and
Thank you.
inviting me.
Yes.
And it's always nice to see a lot of friendly faces out there. Before I begin, if I could ask if there are any veterans in the room, please rise and be recognized. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your service to our country. If I can begin, everybody's got the handout that I passed out?
Yes.
All right, very good. Mr. Martirano, what are you doing in here? I'm going to be keeping an eye on you. You better behave at this meeting. All right, so now let me begin here with the scams. How many of you, by a show of hands, have received scam phone calls, scam email?
Every day,
So there we go.
50 times a day.
100 times a day.
No one is immune. Now, just the other day, I don't answer, and I recommend to all of you, and we can have, I'm going to answer as many questions as I can, and I think I have, what, about 20 minutes, you said?
Right.
Okay. I don't have grandchildren. And I received a message on my voicemail that my grandson had done something pretty bad. And that he needed bail, and he was going to be in jail for quite some time if I didn't get the bail to these people. And that's happening just about everywhere. Sadly, it's happened recently, once in Jefferson Village, very recently, which is why we're heading over on March 18th to come speak to you all, where a gentleman was scammed out of a couple $1,000s. It happened less than a month ago on the other side of town, on this side of town, where a gentleman was also scammed out of $9,500.
Oh, my goodness.
Where he was told that a family member was involved in an accident, that he was being held on bail because it was a serious accident. And this poor guy, he went to the bank, withdrew $9,500, went down to New York City, met some guy on a street corner, and,
Oh, my goodness.
and gave him the money. And these scammers are well thought out because, of course, we try to follow it up and we try to see if there was any cameras, in the area where we could try to identify the scammer. And unfortunately, we haven't been able to help out yet. But you and I both know that money's gone. And sadly, even if we do arrest the perpetrator, he's walking back out
That's right.
as soon as before we complete the paperwork
Bail
in New York
reform.
State these days. So it's unfortunate. So why am I here? To implore you to protect yourselves. All right. On the handout that I gave you, it's a little background information regarding elder fraud, but make no mistake about it, you are the target market. You've worked hard. You've saved hard. You should be enjoying your retirement, the love of family. Yet you are the target market because, number one, most of you are nice. Not all of you, but
It's hard.
but most of you are very, very nice, trusting, and looking to help. And I'll tell you what, if you run into somebody trying to run a con on you, some of these people are ruthless, and they're smooth talkers. And they will, unfortunately, get part people from their hard-earned money, part you from your hard-earned money. So that's why I will come and I will speak as often as possible to serve as a reminder. Because if you do receive the phone call, it's going to hit you off guard unless you think about what I'm speaking about here. And while I gave you a bunch of information, and we can go through some of these, at the end, and what I always end with when I speak of these type of things is, if something is either too good to be true or just too awful to be true, it's not true. You didn't get to where you are, at some point in your lives, multiple times in your lives. You got to trust your gut. You got to go with your gut. And if something's not right, it's not right. So that's the quickest and easiest way to do things. I tried to return 2 phone calls this week to 2 people who were sitting in this room. And it went to their voicemail, which is great because you have to screen your calls. It may sound rude. It may sound impersonal. Don't pick up the phone. Let it go to your voicemail. You could return the call 30 seconds later. You'll know if it's your grandson, your granddaughter, your cousin, anybody. Because that's the key. If you pick up that phone, that scammer's got a chance because he caught you off guard. He's got you, he's catching you cold. All right? Whereas if you let that message go to your machine, you can sit and think about it before you do call back. All right? It's that simple. Computers. Everybody here use a computer?
Sort of.
All right. Maybe not everybody. I get it. And listen, that's part of the reason I'm up here with paper. I am the last thing. I am not a technological wizard. All right? And I don't even get by with my good looks. I try, like I said, I try not to be a robot. I try to stand up here and just try to speak the truth and get you to understand that this is happening. But if you are on a computer, you're going to get an email. Hey, your order's in that you ordered.
That's right.
I didn't order from here.
Right.
You didn't order. Don't open up the email. Delete. Hey, I'm Wells Fargo.
Right.
Yeah, Wells Fargo's another.
I don't have an account with Wells Fargo. Delete. Once you start getting once you click on links, the opportunity is there for malware to get inside of your computer and for somebody to poke around and try to get personal information that they can use to either A, infiltrate your accounts, or B, open up an account in your name.
Yeah.
All right, so that's what's happening. If you get any emails or any type of outreach that you don't expect, don't understand, or again, the header is just too good to be true,
Delete it.
not true. Delete. Also, listen, I received an email the other day from Bank of America. I don't have a Bank of America, but if you read Bank of America it was some guy, Ralph, at blah, 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 blah.
Right.
It's like, all you have to do is take the time to look, and that's not genuine. That's not real. That's fraud. Okay? So take the time to look at your emails, and if anything pops up on your screen, hey, your computer's been infected, boom, 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 oh my gosh, what am I going to do? Let me click. Maybe this person. No.
Delete it.
Don't click on any outreach that's coming onto your computer warning that your computer's been infected. You know what? If you get something like that, X out. Shut down your computer, start it right back up again. Give it a couple minutes and start back up. These momentary inconveniences that I've just described, letting things go to voicemail, not responding to questionable emails, not responding to pop-ups, phishing expeditions like this, it's going to save you a lot of, how do you say it, Maria? Agita?
Agita.
Okay. That's what it's going to save you. And, the last thing we want to see is somebody like you coming to headquarters. Like, I'm out this amount of money. Somebody's doing things with my bank. If they do something with your bank account, yes, you got a shot. Your bank is going to try to help you out and make you right. But if you do withdraw money and you do send it somewhere, it's going to be quite difficult, to get that money back. We may ultimately get you a little pound of flesh and arrest somebody, but again, the way the system works, lately it's not geared to law-abiding, hardworking citizens. All right, criminals are getting back out there very, very quickly, and they can ply their craft almost right away. So, protect yourselves. Some of the things that I have listed here. Let's see. I'm sure you've been victim to all of them. Sweepstakes, lottery scams. Like, you know what? You're going to get a phone call. Hey, with the Yorktown Police Department, PBA, we're fundraising.
Yeah, right. I know.
We don't do that. They still do snail mail. The PBA still does the snail mail. And you know what? If you get something from us, you call us. Hey, look, did you guys really send this? Are you looking? Yes, okay, and we'll answer. And you can do the same, like I said, for any type of police organization. Don't call the number they give you. You know what I mean? Always look it up, and it's as quick as a Google, or you can ask a relative, whatever it is, a trusted source. Always treat any outreach that you get looking for money with skepticism. All right? Most. You get something from St. Jude or the American Cancer Society, things that you donate maybe regularly to, you're probably good to go. But anything questionable, please don't take the bait. All right? Treat it with a great deal of skepticism. All right? Lately, you've seen, and even, we saw it in the paper. Con Ed really is robbing you with what they're charging you.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Again, you're going to get guys that come out, the utility scam,
Yeah.
knocking on your door.
I
And
bet.
Con Ed always lets us know, hey, look, we're going to be out in the area. This is where we're going to be. So anybody comes to your door or anything like that, says they're from Con Ed, well, hold on. Hello, Yorktown Police. Did Con Ed let you know that they're out in the area or anything? They're supposed to have ID. They're supposed to, be
Peddler's
plainly aware.
license.
Because what they're going to want to do is they'll try to distract you. They're going to try to get you to leave your house. Let me show you. Your meter or whatever the heck it is. You got a problem over here, while the person they're working with slips in your house, goes right to your master bedroom, because that's where all the thieves are going, and they take your jewelry. That's in and out. Jewelry or medications. So while this may not be listed here because we're talking about phone and computer scams, for somebody trying to get in your house, that's how they're going to try to, bamboozle you. You'll get these guys, gypsies. They want to pave your driveway. All right? They're coming, hey, look, come on. Let me show you, this is what you got wrong, and they're going to get you out there. And you know what? Once they get you out, somebody else is trying to slip in. So, that's kind of what we're dealing with out there in the community. And sadly, one of the saddest ones, other than the grandparent scam, is the romance scam, the number one right there. Now listen, I've been known to be a thief of hearts, but you got people here that are thieves of money. One woman, I think she lost close to $40,000. And you think, how does this happen? But it does.
Lonesome.
If you have, it's funny. I just watched this the other night, so I'll bring it up. How many of you have? Do any of you have Netflix out there? I thought you would. Anyway, there's this show. There's a dating app called Tinder out there that a lot of you whatever that's out there. But it's called a Tinder swindler. All right. This guy gains the confidence of women. It's a romance scam, and he's financing his jet trips, his exotic locations. He's just hitting one victim after the next, taking their money, and we're talking about large sums of money, 50, 60,000, maybe even more. And you think, how can it happen? But once somebody gains your confidence or puts fear into you, you don't make rational decisions.
Right.
All right? You just don't. Now, you're lucky enough, are all your Yorktown residents? Mm-hmm. All right. You got a police department that's well-versed, well-trained in things like this. If you ever have any doubts, all right? Next question. How many of you have cell phones? All right. Okay. I do. Do you have our police contact as part of your contacts in your cell phone?
No.
If you don't, please, before you leave this meeting and you're done chomping on those chips, I'm watching you, all right? Add us, there we go. Add us to your phone contact list. 962
I put it as,
4141.
Right.
I do.
There you
April,
go.
so it's the
Yorktown
first number.
Police. You could even put us AAA Yorktown Police. So we come right up front.
Yeah.
All right? And there's not a lot of thought process involved. You hit A, AAA is going to come up. Yorktown Police. Bang. You give us a call and we'll try to walk you through any issues that you might be having. All right?
You'd be surprised. Your mind goes blank and you can't
I've
remember.
spoken a heck of a lot.
What about the calls that you get? I keep my TVs on all over the house so I could see who's calling. But if you recognize the call, that doesn't necessarily mean that's who's calling you, right?
Exactly. That's called spoofing. All right? Which is why, what did I tell you? Let the call go. The voicemail. Don't pick it up. Don't pick it up. If it's legit, you're calling the person back in a couple seconds. That's it.
See, before it was just on your house phone. Now they do your cell phone with those
Sure.
numbers.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What you have to understand is these scammers, all they got to do is be right one out of listen, like I said, we had that victim lose $9,500. That's a pretty good day's work. You get $9,500, you got to be right one time. And if you can get a couple grand out of somebody, I mean, and it's happening in every community. So the best way we can get it to stop is to have discussions like this and hope that you share information with people that are not here. And we all try to, work together to kind of combat this. And hopefully these people will say, hey, man, Yorktown's dry. We're not getting anywhere. Let's move someplace else.
Because Medicare will never call you.
True.
They will never call you. They
That's
will
it.
always write you a letter.
Yes. Yes.
We had a coworker the other day, Con Ed called her.
You should get up to the mic.
And
No, I can answer.
Yeah, but on-
I'll repeat the question.
Con Ed called her and said that they're going to shut down her electricity in an hour and a half.
All right, so Con Ed,
So she hung up
right?
and called Con Ed directly. And
There you go.
Followed up on her bill. She knows she paid it, but she was wondering where this came from. So when she called directly, they said, no, lady, you're in good standing.
Yep.
And they never ended up calling back, et cetera, et cetera.
Yep.
So I don't know if you're getting those at all.
Yeah, sure. The question we spoke. I mentioned the utility scams before, but the question was Con Ed called up and said for the people on TV that are watching that Con Ed called and said they were going to shut the power down. They don't do that. They don't do that. All right. Well, maybe if you haven't paid your bills in quite some time, but if you've been paying your bills pretty frequently, that just does not happen. So yes, hang up, and also Con Ed's number is easy. It's 1-800-CON-ED. That's the number you can call to get them. So that's fairly simple. But again, if you heard that, isn't that too bad to be true?
Yes.
It's too. It can't be right.
Right.
So that's just it. You got to treat that with a lot of skepticism.
Except that they do instill fear in some people.
Well, when you get your bill now,
Right, yeah.
sure.
Most of these scams work off base instinct. As you said, the grandparent scam.
Yes.
A lot of them do this. And, Bobby, you mentioned something, and it reminds me of the story of Len Berman, the sportscaster, when he was learning. He was once told, trust but verify. If your grandmother says she loves you, trust her, but verify it. So, well, go talk to her. So, it's huge. It's a big thing. And my mother-in-law's gotten the Amazon one. She's like, oh my God, my Amazon account got compromised. I'm like, that's great, Rosie. You don't have an Amazon account. We order everything for you.
Right.
And she had someone call up with my nephew, who we just saw over the weekend, was now in Vegas all of a sudden and got involved in a DWI. And it's like, Rosie, just call him. No, I got to send the money. Call Drew. He's at his desk at work. Sure enough, he was at his desk at work. But this is what they do. They prey on your emotion.
I got a call like that once telling me that my daughter-in-law needed money for an airline ticket to get home.
There we go.
And I said, it's awfully funny. This was a couple of years ago. Awfully funny because she's sitting in my living room. Boom, hang up.
The scams haven't changed. It's just it's the opportunities that change. COVID, you know, you had a lot of you had COVID scams. Hey, look, you can do this. It's just too good to be true, too bad to be true. That's the way you got to look at it. Just don't fall for it. It's that simple.
I would like to give a shout out to your police department, though,
Yes.
Bob. There was one instance that my mother-in-law didn't check, and too good to be true. Oh, you could save $1,000 on your cable. Just send us $250, and she sent the check. And under the good work of former Detective Shanahan, who's now retired, he was able to get the money back since it went through a check. Like I get an email from Supervisor Slater once a week saying how he's stuck in a meeting and I need some help. Can you just email me because I can't talk on the phone? And I was working with Detective Breyer trying to see if we could find some way to get contact information from these people. So I'm answering, oh, I need some gift cards for a charity. Scratch it off. Give me the number. And, my wife just, she picked him up and she's at the post office. We'll mail them to you. No, just give me the number. I need it really quick. It's like, oh, she's not home right now, but, give me an address. We'll mail it. And I was hoping they would fall for it. They wouldn't, but, Tom and I were talking the whole time trying to figure out what we can do. And believe me, they are brutal, like 25 emails over the course of an hour and a half. They get right back because they think they have someone on the hook.
Yeah, they'll fluster you, intimidate you. It's sad. And you talk of that occasion where we were able to recover money. We've made arrests. I mean, but sadly now in the age of discovery and what's out there, it's kind of tough because what we've done in the past is we had somebody who had the wherewithal to call us. Hey, look, this is what's going on. Are they coming up to pick up money? Yeah, they're supposed to come here to pick up $5,000. Okay. Are you okay with us waiting, and you go through with the ruse that you're going to pay them the money? Yes. You know what? I want them caught. So we wait. Courier comes. We jump them, take them down, cuff them up, lock them up. All he was part of the scam, but he was at a very low level. Out of that $5,000, he was probably getting. He said, "I'm getting $200." Some guy said to come pick this up. He was a low-level courier, was what he was. So that's who these people send. They send somebody who can take the arrest, or somebody who's just looking to get a quick $100 or $200. Meanwhile, the mastermind of this guy doesn't even know who the mastermind is. There's so many layers. So it's tough to actually get the actual people who are behind this.
Right.
All right? The person who lost $9,500 went down to the city, dropped it off. What did the guy look like that you dropped it off to? He had a facial covering on, and he kind of looked Ecuadorian was the only thing he could give us. And it's like, we're not going to get anywhere with that, unfortunately. So, again, the best defense is a good offense, and that is skepticism. Don't answer the phone. You have this handout. You can take a look, read it. For those of you who don't have the computer, just take a look at this, and it's going to give you a very good amount of information to protect yourself against being a victim of fraud or being the victim of a scam. If you are a victim, you call us up. You're going to enter us in your phones after this meeting. Yep. Call us up. We're going to try to do the best we can for you. And then also, there are sites here like ftc.gov. I have it on here. It's on my handout. That's an excellent location. If you do have a computer and you want to go on that site, very up to date. Tell you about a lot of the scams that are going on in the communities. All right? And if there aren't any more questions, lastly, one of the things that we are seeing out in the suburbs like this is if you put out a check in the mail, whether you're sending it to your grandkids, whether you're paying a bill, if you put that mailbox flag up, there are crews out there that are taking those checks that you're putting out. They're washing those checks.
Yeah.
They're putting their name on your account. Or if you're sending $50, they're hitting you for $5,000.
Oh, wow.
That's what's going on out there. So my recommendation, you are making me hungry. Starving. It looks
Help
good.
yourself.
I am. That lunch
Okay.
sounds good. But anyway, if you can, if possible, don't use your mailboxes
That's good, that's very good
Don't put that
information.
flag up
I use that all the
to
time.
put out mail. You know what? If you have a friend that can maybe drop it off at the post office in the big safe bin that's out there, that's a much, much smarter way to go.
Very good
All right?
information.
And, you know, that's locally, crudely, it's a great way to protect yourself because, again, the ones who are going through these mailboxes are probably, like I said, they're getting a small cut, and they're nobodies when we lock them up. But they're giving it to somebody that's high up on the food chain. They're not giving it up because they know once we catch them, they're getting right back out there, and conceivably they can go hit mailboxes the same day.
Yeah.
That's just the way it works right now. All right? So, again, to protect yourselves, avoid using your mailboxes to send out payments. You got to send a check, any type of check. If you can, use a post office receptacle.
Very interesting. I'd never heard that because I do use mine all the time.
No more.
Yep. Yep.
Are there patrols going through the neighborhood?
You bet.
Yeah, okay.
You bet. We have a suspect in one of the cases. Yeah. Yep. So we're working.
Very interesting.
Thank you.
Very good.
Yes.
Chief Noble, I have a quick question.
Okay.
Is there any credence? I received a call one night last week. Is your front door locked? I said, my front door's always locked. Lock it. What's going on? Someone evidently was trying to get in front doors. I thought that your...
Where do you live?
I live on Courting Road. It was supposedly happening on...
Off Gomer Street.
No.
Quinlan.
Yes.
Oh.
That there was somebody with an altered mental status. That was-
Unfortunately. Yeah.
So the intent probably was not to break in and steal. The subject that you're talking about,
Go to the wrong
he
house.
kind of wasn't in his right mind and was having a little bit of a bad day.
You know, and that is so prevalent, and yet we have to understand, we do have seniors who live alone,
Absolutely.
and they can't drive, and they do have children who come, and then I called her, and she almost, I said, don't worry about it, we're right here. What big deal? You know, how much can I possibly do? But I was happy you were here because I wanted to ask you the question. I'm glad you corrected that to a degree.
Yeah.
You know, it was a person.
But still, listen, when I tell all my kids are older now, but, when I go home, I lock the door.
I do
Why
too.
wouldn't you lock your door?
A lot of people don't.
Why wouldn't you lock your door? If you want to go out, all you're doing is you turning a knob or turning a switch. So,
But a lot of people, I do. I lock my door.
well, good. So do
A
I.
lot of people don't because they say, no, we've been here 50 years. It's always safe.
Well, listen, Yorktown is as close to Mayberry as you're going to get,
Yeah.
but it ain't Mayberry, all right? Please, lock your doors.
Yeah, because I'm outside.
I don't lock my door.
I do.
All right.
I leave my, and I hate to admit it, I do leave my door unlocked. Since my husband has been ill, I just feel a couple of times I've had to call the police to come help me. Then I can't go upstairs, and I feel I tell them, come in the front door, or come in the back door, that's unlocked.
Paramedic can get in.
And I know I shouldn't do it, but I do leave my doors unlocked now.
I don't want you to give me your address, but do you live near somebody that you
Oh, yes.
trust?
Oh, yes,
Do you trust them enough to give them a key?
sure.
Give them a key. Lock your door.
And they can meet the ambulance or
If we need
emergency.
to get in,
Go get it.
we'll get in, and if you call, just say I can't get to the door. My neighbor, blah 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 blah, has the key,
Okay.
Okay.
and we'll come.
Because my husband's been upset because I do leave the door open.
Yeah, don't
lock it.
avoid leaving the door open.
And,
Another, while it's not a scam, in this community and in the suburbs right now, how many of you own cars?
Oh, yeah.
Please lock your
Your
cars.
car.
All right. If you go by our police department, you'll see on that
See it all the
sign.
time.
Yeah.
Lock your car.
360.
People again, they think, well, come on, that's a pain in the neck. I gotta unlock my car. That's a lot of work. It's not. All right. Lock your car. All right, because listen, every suburban community, and this is something again we've worked on, and we've made arrests. We have made arrests. The crews that are hitting unlocked cars, it's one of two things. It's either somebody who has an addiction problem and wants to get in your unlocked car and take your spare change or anything of value and trade that for their drug hit, unfortunately. The second part, and the scarier part, is that we have people coming from New Haven, Bridgeport, Patterson, New Jersey. They're juveniles. They're gangbangers. They're 15, 16, 17. And a lot of them are coming armed. They come in one car, 4 or 5 people, and they're looking to steal 4 or 5 cars. They're each looking to leave with a car. And sadly, not only do people not lock their cars, they really go for it. They leave their keys in the car.
Keys, yeah.
All right? So, again, you're asking too many questions, Councilman.
Well,
Let me
actually,
finish.
just a point. In fact, we keep our garage door openers in our car.
Well,
Someone could hit the button and be in your house.
so that's just it. I mean, again, so if you have cars, and tell people, and that's why we've blasted that out. If you follow our Facebook page, this message went out on Nixle a few weeks ago, the elder fraud. We've warned people ad nauseum, please, lock your cars. It's simple. Lock your cars, and don't leave valuables in plain sight in your car, okay? Because if you leave something that's valuable in plain sight, somebody may break the window and try to get at it. It's simple. Now, thankfully, I'm giving you all these warnings, but you do live in a safe community. You really, really do. I mean, at the end of the day, these are, what's that?
Number 7 in the county.
I wish it was
State.
number 9 in the United
In
States.
the United States, right.
Yes.
And we have 2 other speakers.
So you live, like I said, you live in a safe community. But, yeah, the crimes that we're seeing are not violent crimes. They're property crimes, all right? But yet, huh?
Who's number 1?
Who's number 1? You know what? I don't know. I was so happy to be number 9 that I didn't even look at number 1. All right? But, what's that?
The tough
Why, are you
crowd.
moving? Yeah. I tell you what, they're not going to give you a lunch like this today.
Iowa.
All right. So,
There is also another alternative for the leaving the door open. I just had to set up a life alert for my friend's mother, and that came with like the real estate lockbox that you put right on, and it has a code. I'm sure that if you go to Locksmith on Wheels right down the road here, they could probably get them for you, and you have a code. You could tell the police department this is a code, and they could get the key.
I would never allow a real estate lockbox on my car, on my house.
If
There's
it,
always-
if it was a matter of...
there's always options.
Yeah.
The councilman's just giving you an option. Whatever works best.
Right.
I'm putting one on there, Rosemary.
Okay. Thank you.
I doubt it. I really doubt it.
So do I. You scare me as much as my
Does anybody
mother-in-law
have any questions? Like I said, I've thrown a lot out there.
Is he here?
Yes.
Or did he walk out?
I came in a few minutes late, and I'm hard of hearing, so I didn't hear anything, but I quickly skimmed over this, and I see we're talking about scams.
Yes.
Yesterday, there was an attempt to scam me online. I attempted to go on my online account for a bank. As I went on there, a pop-up came up.
That's what we were
that
talking
said,
about.
Because of suspicious activity, it's locked. Call this number.
Exactly.
And I assumed that this was the bank. I called, and within a short time, I realized I was being scammed.
Great.
My son-in-law said to me immediately, unplug everything. I called up the bank. They said, get it, your computer professionally cleaned. At one point, he was saying to me something about gift cards and to fix the problem. And I said, you are scamming me, and I put the phone down.
Good for you.
They didn't get anything, but I should have known better. And I just passed it on. If something appears on your screen, my son-in-law and my son said to me yesterday, never call that number. There was a number, never. And I assumed it was the bank, and I was stupid.
No, you're not. What was your name? What's your name, man?
Pardon me?
What's your name?
Maria.
Maria. You just said in 30 seconds what I've said in about 30 minutes. All right?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
did a great job.
I felt very good. I told my son, I told them, this is a scam, and I'm calling the police. Now I see I didn't
We'll never get out of
report
here
it
at
to the
2:30.
police yet. What should I do? Call the police now?
You can, yes, you can tell us.
I'm going to make a formal phone call, but thank God I got on to them. They said to me that $1,580 was charged to a pornography site. It's to get me angry. And then they said maybe...
I guess if you're going to live dangerously.
Can I use this one?
That's what they... That's...
This could go on.
I know.
And when I asked the name, it was...
But again, too good to be true or too bad to be true?
Yesterday afternoon. I'm so glad I came to the
Good, we're glad you're here.
And the people that spoke to me on the phone, there were two. One said he was in California. That's where the bank...
That's where all the porn is, too.
They had heavy accents, but very American names. I just, that should have,
Yeah.
given me a clue.
You did a fantastic job. You know what? They almost had you. Almost.
They almost did.
But,
They didn't get a penny.
all right, all right.
Thank you all.
I read recently an article in one of the, I think it's the AARP magazine, and it was talking about how to protect yourself. Never use the same password twice. My son always told me.
Absolutely.
And I'm going to change all my passwords, but they almost got me, but I won in the end.
Good for
All
you.
right.
Even though I'm an old lady, my
Okay.
brain is still working.
Listen, I'm not messing with you.
I have a friend, online, and it came up the logo, Citibank, and looked official.
Right.
And she went in, and it was something about payment or something, whatever it was, it was $1,000, $2,000. She did go through with the transaction.
Yeah.
Afterwards, she realized something wasn't right. So if that ever does happen, and you do that, she called up the bank immediately.
Yep.
And they stopped the payments.
Sure.
So in case if you do get fooled, call up the bank immediately, okay, because shutting it down would not have stopped that from going through. Because once they had the bank information and all of that, so yes, so that's how she stopped it. She got the money.
So, what? One more. So again, that's an excellent point as well, because while I've asked you to put our phone number in your bank, in your phone, maybe you want to put your bank's phone number. You get stressed out when something like this happens, and you want to just, it's almost like we talk about it in police work. It's called muscle memory. It's like you don't have to think, you react, and your training trains you to react. So have these phone numbers already in your phone. If your bank is Wells Fargo, if your bank is PCSB, have it in your phone. This way, if something like that happens, it's like, yeah, you know what, I should probably call my bank. Hey, has anything happened? Have your credit card phone number in your cell phone too. This way you can check with them or alert them quickly that something may have happened. And yes, you know what, you made a good point. If you think that you've clicked on this and somebody may be going around in your computer, a reputable computer repair company may not be a bad phone number to have as well. And I know it's the material is in the handouts that I gave you, but if anybody asks you to pay with gift cards, that's just, no reputable place is going to ask you for iTunes, Amazon. They're not going to ask for payment in that manner. So please, keep that in mind as well. Yes?
I just want to add someone that I know that knows a lot about computers said this was a type of ransomware.
Yeah.
Where they lock the computer and
Yep.
want lots of money to open it again.
You bet.
And also, he asked me for my debit card. I said, I don't have one. Got very upset. He wanted money with that. And that flew
Yep.
So just be aware. Don't click on everything, don't call anything, and unplug it right away if you think you've been scammed.
Okay.
Anything else?
No, thank you very much. We appreciate you coming, as always.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
for,
Chief.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you.
And until we meet again, you need me to come back and speak about anything
Yep.
else, I'll be happy to do so.
Thank you. We
All right?
appreciate that.
Thank
Thank you.
Sandwich on the way out.
I'm starving. I haven't eaten yet today.
Go ahead.
It's a very busy day.
And
Take
the
lunch.
chips. And the chips also.
Okay, we have our town's supervisor. I would just like to mention the Tom Diana councilman was just here. Diana Quast was here. She had to leave. It's nice to see that so many members of our town board and people involved are interested enough in the seniors to come by and see us. And now I'd like to call our supervisor, Matt Slater, to come up and give us a little report. How are you, Mr. Supervisor? Nice to see you.
Hello. Let's give Chief Noble another round of applause, please. Our police do a great job here in Yorktown. You heard, obviously, we have some bragging rights with being a top 10 safest in the country.
I didn't realize it was in the country. I thought in the state. Wow.
No, it's in the country.
Beautiful.
And it's fantastic. And it goes to the hard work of the Yorktown Police Department. They've been recently accredited again by the state of New York, proving to be one of the top police forces in New York State, but the ranking is nationally. So that's a big tribute.
that.
And it starts at the
I'm
top
impressed.
with Chief Noble. Great job.
And thank you. Like I said, I know I'm not on microphone, or I'm gonna get yelled at, but also, your police department's good. We get a lot of support from the town board. I mean, Ed's on his phone right now. Don't hold that against him. I'm standing somebody. The supervisor, Councilman Diana, you know what, Esposito and
Howard.
Howard.
Yeah.
Howard.
And even the boards before. They never really, you find problems in towns where town boards kind of undermine the police departments. That doesn't happen in Yorktown.
That's right. That's right.
Thank you, Chief.
Thanks, Chief.
Well, we have a couple of things to talk about from the town's perspective, and I'm going to start with the number one issue that we've been facing as a community, and that's the backbreaking utility bills that everyone's been receiving. Daryl's with us. Daryl, how much was your bill?
$200, 200% more. It went from $500 to $700.
So a 200% increase on utility bills. It's not just Con Edison customers. NYSEG customers are seeing the same. The difference being NYSEG at least responded to us when we asked for the reasoning. Con Ed, not so much. We asked Con Ed to come to a town board meeting 2 weeks ago. They refused. We asked them to meet with the Jefferson Village Condo Presidents Association. They refused. And it's just poor customer service. And I think that it's important that our residents, especially our seniors, understand what the situation is. The driving costs are a couple of things. Number one, there's, as we know, everything these days is costing more money, right? Whether you're filling up your gas tank, whether you're buying groceries, unfortunately, the inflation issue is really having a tremendous impact, not just here in the town of Yorktown, but across the country. That includes also your utility bills. Con Ed and NYSEG, they are actually, they don't actually produce your electricity. They just deliver it to your house.
Right.
But the cost to producing electricity, especially with Indian Point now off the grid, has gone up exponentially because they are relying more on natural gas and natural gas power plants. Natural gas as a commodity has increased almost 26%, and it's costing a tremendous impact on consumers, on all of us, ratepayers. And so we have started a process. The town board sent a letter to the PSC. There's actually former Governor Cuomo had put into place a special counsel of special counsel for ratepayer protection. And we've asked that individual to open an investigation into these exorbitant utility bills that everyone's receiving, mostly in January, and we expect them also here in February. In addition to that, Con Edison, after they sent you all your bills, they sent another letter to the Public Service Commission because, as a point of information, the town of Yorktown obviously doesn't regulate utility companies, right? the state of New York regulates utility companies through the Public Service Commission. And so in the end of January, the last week of January, after they sent those terrible bills, they then sent a request to the Public Service Commission for another 11% increase in rates.
Wow.
That's right. That's just for electric. If you get Con Edison gas, they're asking for another 18% increase in your rate for as a gas customer. I could never. The words that I keep thinking of is just tone deaf. I think Sergio Esposito, our councilman, used that phrase. I just can't think of a more inappropriate time to be requesting that. And when I read the letter that they sent up, and when you read it, they talk about, yes, they are going to try to invest in some renewable energy things and so on and so forth. But the number one reason is their property taxes. Yeah. They can't afford their property taxes. That's what they cite in their letter to the Public Service Commission, which I find both offensive and ironic because I know a lot of people here and a lot of people in town struggle every year to pay their property taxes. They're not asking for an increase in your Social Security, right? I mean,
Right.
It's just it's abusive, and the town board has sent a resolution, separate resolution to the Public Service Commission formally opposing the rate hike. And we also requested, because in 2019 the Public Service Commission held a public hearing here at our town hall for NYSEG's rate hike, and we've asked the Public Service Commission to bring another public hearing here to Yorktown Town Hall as part of their procedure in reviewing the requested rate hike. So we were waiting for a response both from the Special Counsel for Ratepayer Protection as well as the PSC as to whether or not they're going to allow for a public hearing to be held here in the town of Yorktown.
That will be interesting. That'll be an interesting meeting.
Oh yeah. Well, we want to make. Well, don't forget, we want all of northern Westchester to have a voice, right? And so the state dictates the territory by which each utility operates in. So it would be Yorktown, Cortland, Newcastle, Peekskill. Parts of Bedford have Con Ed as well. We're one of the. There's only 2 municipalities in all of Westchester County that have 2 utilities. We have both Con Ed and NYSEG. Only Bedford has that distinction as well. So we're quite unique in that way. But obviously, an 11% and an 18% rate hike in the face of 40-year record inflation is just not an acceptable position to take. And the town is leading a petition, actually. If you go on our website,
right.
You can sign a petition online, which we're going to send to the PSC, the Public Service Commission, that opposing the rate hike. So I encourage you all, especially Con Ed customers, to go online and do that. And if you aren't computer savvy, we're going to have sample letters that we're going to have produced, and you can just take a sample letter, just sign your name to it, and you can mail it to the Public Service Commission as well. And we're going to be dropping those off, Daryl. I'm going to be bringing them to you over at Jefferson Village.
Okay.
And anyone else, like I said, who is not computer literate or computer savvy, we're happy to provide that as well. We'll have those ready next week as we continue to put the pressure on the Public Service Commission in the state of New York. The town of Yorktown on Tuesday is going to be entertaining a proposal by Sustainable Westchester. We've done a lot of work with them. Sustainable Westchester it has a Westchester Power Program. There are 26 municipalities in Westchester County that are currently in the program, and really what it does, it's a price fix, it locks your price in for your utility rates. So when you see these spikes that we're seeing now, if you're a participant in the program, your rate stays the same. So I think it's going to help a lot of our residents, a lot of our seniors, a lot of our small businesses. If you frequent A&S Pork Store, Mario was with us at our little press conference. His bill went up to $6,500 just for 1 month. And so it really is having a tremendous impact across the board. But Sustainable Westchester has this great program that the town board has invited them to come and present on. They've brought it to us in the past. The town board was a little uneasy on some of the parameters. They've refined them since. So it's an opt-out program. So anyone can opt out. You don't have to participate in it if you don't want to, which is fine. The interesting thing also, though, is you can opt out, and then you can opt back in, and then you can opt back out again, and then you can opt back. You can be a ping pong ball all you want for a 3-year period or the term of the contract that's in place, both for Con Ed and NYSEG. Based on the projections, we expect nearly 12,000 ratepayers to participate in this. If you've already participated in the community solar program that the town has offered, which again is a simple opt-in program, and you get 10% off your bill off the top. you'll benefit because you'll still have 10% off, and you'll have a locked-in price that protects you from the price gouging and the spikes.
I'm involved in it. All right.
There you go. So you benefit both ways. So we're just trying to find ways locally that we can help our residents, especially our seniors, manage the utility bills, make sure that they're not getting just crushed by these backbreaking electric costs that we're seeing, because honestly, we don't think they're going anywhere anytime soon. And that's just a function of the economy and a function of the market, specifically the commodities market, which is what they utilize when they're purchasing and using and adjusting their rates. So that's the latest on the utility front, which is a big deal for a lot of people. The other thing I wanted to just make sure we talked about this at the last town board meeting as well. There was this proposal out of Albany. Gotta love Albany. Whoa.
We do?
Yeah,
that was sarcasm.
Very sarcastic.
Right.
I've spent some time up there, and it's like altitude sickness after a while. You think you're doing the right thing, but you're not. And the latest one was this accessory dwelling unit mandate.
Yes.
Which municipalities across the Westchester County, Long Island, really across the state, basically revolted against. Because it would propose a one-size-fits-all approach to accessory dwelling units. Accessory dwelling units, for those who may not know, if you have an apartment over your garage, right? Things like that you can rent out. They're affordable. They're mother-daughter. They make it like a mother-daughter kind of scenario. Yorktown already allows them. We have 177 accessory dwelling units here in the town of Yorktown. We recognize their importance. We recognize property owners' right to produce them as long as they adhere to the town's code and the town's process. Basically, what our friends in Albany wanted to do, though, they wanted to say a one-size-fits-all approach. So one standard for New York City, one standard for Long Island, one standard for Westchester County, so on and so forth. And it just doesn't work. The impetus of it is based off of the fact that there were 20 people who tragically were killed during Hurricane Ida and those terrible floods that we had locally, especially down in New York City. They were all living in illegal basement apartments. So it's really a New York City problem that they were trying to force upon everybody else in the state of New York. Again, Republicans and Democrats across Westchester County came together, supervisors and mayors. It was great to see, great to work with. And we were able to get, the governor just announced it last night, that she would be removing that proposal out of the state budget.
Thank God.
Good, all right. Good for you.
Local control, it's a tremendous victory for home rule. It's a tremendous victory for municipalities all across the state of New York. The other one that we're fighting against is this thing called transit-oriented development. It's called the TOD. Transit-oriented development, the proposal by the governor, basically, as of right, if you own 1 acre of residential property and you... 1 acre of residential property, and you are within a half a mile of that bus stop right outside, then you can put a 25-unit apartment complex there as of right. It's worse if you're by a train station.
And that's a half a mile as a crow flies.
It's a half mile as a crow flies, right. So just a straight line. We are adamantly opposing this. The town is adamantly opposing this. Supervisors and mayors across the state of New York, Republicans and Democrats, are adamantly opposing this because, again, you're completely dissolving the idea of home rule, local control, and zoning is just, completely thrown out the window. There's no concept or consideration to infrastructure. There's no concept or consideration to planning. There's no concept and consideration to comprehensive plans, which municipalities like Yorktown have produced over the years. And so it's really an offensive and potentially dangerous piece of legislation that, again, Republicans and Democrats, these days, we all know Republicans and Democrats, all they want to do is fight, debate, very polarizing. But when they come together and they're telling you something's wrong, you should probably listen to them. So that's what we've been doing together. It's been great. But we're hopeful and we're confident that proposal will also not make it through the budgetary process. In Albany, people don't realize this. Unlike the budgetary process here, we strictly talk about numbers, right? How much does it cost to run the town? How much does it cost to run the library, pave the roads? It's strictly numbers. In Albany, they actually insert policy as part of the budget, and it's a sneaky way of getting things done that would otherwise be more controversial because they pack it into this huge $200 million plus, I think it's more than that now, budget. That it's obviously more than 200 million. I think it's it might be 2 billion now. Anyway, but a huge budget that that the state of New York passes. So both things we're working towards, both things we're fighting against, and we're happy to see that at least one of them's already been taken care of. The only other thing I wanted to bring up, Section 8 housing. The Section 8 housing list is going to be opening up again. First time in 2 years that we're doing that. Sandrine Singh is our Section 8 coordinator. For anyone who qualifies for Section 8 housing, where you get the vouchers from HUD, the federal government, to help with your rent, you can put your name on the list and see if you qualify. But especially for our seniors, many of whom may be renting these days, I just wanted to make sure that you were aware that that option does exist in the town of Yorktown, and that the Section 8 list is being opened again for you to see if you qualify and put your name in for consideration.
Or if you know anyone that might.
Or if you know, or if you know anyone.
And
who
is
may
there a
benefit.
number for this individual?
There is, and I
Okay.
don't remember off the top of my head. But
I'll get it.
Ed, can you look it up for me real quick?
Do it.
Councilman Latchman will look it up, and you can call Sandrine. She presented at Tuesday's town board meeting, and again, it's just another service that we're able to provide. And actually, it goes outside of the town of Yorktown, too, so people outside of the town where the town partners with. Am I saying this correct? You would know this, Noreen.
I think so, yeah.
Yep. So a lot of people benefit. Questions from either the Senior Advisory Committee or questions from the audience? I'm happy to take them while I'm here.
I just wanted to point out something, and it's about the transit development. Just to put it in perspective, anyone here go to St. Pat's?
Yes.
So the neighborhood right in front of St. Pat's, which is where I live, and I'm practically at an acre, I could put a 25
Unit
apartment complex up.
As of right.
Right. So you talk about changing our neighborhoods, changing what our planning is in the town. I don't think you can make it any more visual than that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
All the years of people serving on boards,
Yep.
zoning, planning,
All out
all
the
that
window.
out the window.
because if you live on an acre of property and you're within a half a mile, again, as the crow flies, all you have to do is basically go to the building department, put a building permit in, and it's an as of right for that property owner. And then if you think about it, then someone can go around and buy property, so their 1 acre becomes a 2 acre. Now you got 50 units. 2 acre become 3 acres.
Right.
Now you got 75. So it's, again, there's a reason that we have our great volunteer boards, our planning department, our zoning board, our building department. I mean, they're all in place to make sure that when these things are built or these things are proposed, that that we have the ability to support them, but they're also done in the eye of the community. And so that's something that, again, we're fighting very, very hard against.
Good.
I forgot to mention, by the way, and yes, then we'll take questions. But obviously, town hall is open, so great to see everyone. Our town board meetings are back in person, so feel free to come back Tuesdays at 7:30, work sessions and regular town board meetings. Our library is back open. All of our facilities are back open. Our Parks and Rec superintendent, Jim Moderano, has got a great slew of senior activities. And of course, we can go play some mean bingo over at the Senior Nutrition Center. Right?
Is that what they're calling it now? Mean bingo based on the caller? Or?
Well, listen, I was.
There you
I had
go.
a lot of fun calling, but
know.
I think it's also just really important that we take advantage. I'll come back. Don't worry, I'll be back. But I think it's important that we take advantage of it. I mean, one of the things I think we're seeing right now is one of the consequences of this terrible pandemic is people are they're having a hard time interacting with people again.
Yes.
And so I think it's kind of important that we almost reintroduce ourselves back to our friends and back to our neighbors, reintroduce ourselves back to some great programs that are available. And, it helps mentally, obviously. There's clear mental health benefits to gathering like this again and re-engaging in activities. The physical benefits are also very, very clear. So, those are all things that I think the town does a great job with. Jim does a great job with. Our senior clubs are going to be back at the Cappellini Center as well. Again, Noreen does a great job, and her whole staff does a great job providing great services for the Nutrition Center, through the Nutrition Center. So just make sure. I'm trying to listen. If someone can help me, I've got my grandmother who still lives here. I won't tell you how old she is because she'll slap me if I come through the door. But if anyone can help me convince her to come down, I've been
Oh, that would
trying
be
now
wonderful.
for quite some time.
Yeah.
But yeah, Councilman.
I just have that phone number for you when you're ready.
Oh, so for Section 8, Sandrine Singh is our Section 8 coordinator. Her number is
914-962-5757.
5757. Even if you just have a question to find out how to figure out if you're qualified, if you have a question, any question you might have, feel free to give her a call. She's incredibly helpful. She does a great job. And that's one of the things that we were able to provide here in the town.
Good. Thank you. We appreciate it.
Questions?
You talked about opting into community solar and some other projects. How would a senior at home opt in? Is there a number they can call or online?
Yeah, so there's a program. It's online. The information is through the town website. It's called Sustainable Westchester. It's the Community Solar Program, and it's really easy. You just the information's online. You call the number, and you literally just tell them that you want to opt in at Sustainable Westchester, and they start the whole process for you.
Can Ed look up the number?
For Community Solar, I don't know it off the top of my head. I'm only here with the one little piece of paper and 2 phones that actually just died, so I'm stuck.
A lot of seniors don't have computers. So
Yep.
Matt, what is
The Community Solar, Sustainable Westchester Community Solar Program. And while Ed's looking that up, any other questions that I might be able to answer, folks? Yes.
When are you going to open up the door to the Capellini?
So that's a different. I think that's a different situation. So the Capellini Center is used to being free flowing, which is great. But I think one of the things that we're looking at is more from a security standpoint. We've had some vandalism over there, especially. I don't know where that crackling is coming from. Is it mine?
Somebody's
Mine?
mic.
I haven't touched the mic since I got up. Maybe it's
Something here.
Anyway, so we've had some vandalism over there that started 2 years ago. So we're trying to implement some security measures just to make sure everyone who is there is safe. We have a daycare center that continues to operate there. The teen center still continues to operate there. So we're trying to find the right balance between access and safety, and I think it's an important one. It's an important one for everyone who's walking into the door, whether they're a staffer, like we've got our planning department that's housed up there, senior nutrition center, obviously, our staff's there as well, but making sure, again, that there's that balance of access and safety. And so right now, for those who are coming for a program, we have a process in place to let people in, and then we're going to hopefully be able to expand that once we get more safety measures put into place.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. We always appreciate you coming.
No problem.
And talking
No
to
questions
us.
from you today? Woo! Mark this day on the calendar.
Tired.
Matt, if I could ask you one to share, especially with our seniors that are veterans. I know the Honor Flight is going to be doing something here.
Yeah, so Honor Flight. For all of our seniors, I know Brian Sillick's in the back. One of the most absolutely memorable, magical experiences a veteran can go on is the Honor Flight. Honor Flight is going to be flying out of Westchester Airport on May 21st.
No, May
21st.
May.
And we are working with them because they want to actually utilize Yorktown because of our geographic location to host several of their kickoff events for the Honor Flight for our veterans. And so we're thrilled as a municipality to work with the Honor Flight folks. I've gone on it, brought a very special veteran on, Roger Thompson, on the flight with me, which was just incredible. And if I'm lucky enough, I've already volunteered to be a bus leader for this year's flight. So it is just a great tribute to the men and women who've given us everything that we have in this country, who've defended our freedoms, and who frankly, we've built this country. We built it on their shoulders, based on their, on their sacrifice, on their blood, sweat, and tears, and how much they've given to this country. And so they do a great kickoff in the morning. It's a full day. Let me tell you, it's a long day. But they do a great kickoff in the morning at Westchester County Airport. You spend the whole day down in Washington, D.C., thanks to, I think it's ShopRite.
ShopRite's a major.
ShopRite's the main corporate sponsor. They fly you down on a chartered flight. You go right into Reagan. You have this incredible welcoming committee there that welcomes everybody off the plane. You get a great tour of, the highlights of Washington, D.C., all the war monuments and memorials that you get to visit. And then you get over to Arlington National Cemetery. You see the changing of the guard, which obviously is one of those,
very moving,
very emotional moments for a lot of people. And then you get back later in the day. You get a dinner down in D.C. And then they bring us back up, and there is quite the welcoming home committee to welcome all of our heroes back home. And so for anyone who's put a uniform on, it is just such a special day. And so I'm hoping that any veteran who hasn't heard of the program takes advantage of it, and you can contact my office, 962-5722, extension 200. For the questions, you can contact Councilman Lachterman. He's also been very involved with the Honor Flight program. I just can't say enough how special it is, and you can ask any veteran who's been on it. It's I think one of the phrases that Mr. Thompson used was the best day, one of the best days he ever had. So it's that's special for those men and women. So thank you for reminding me.
Thank you so
May
much.
21st.
May 21st is the actual flight.
But
Out
the,
of Westchester
the event
Airport.
in Yorktown will be different, and people could go down, as Supervisor Slater said, for the kickoff, for the coming home. It's unbelievable. It's still, the emotion is overwhelming for me.
Oh, yeah.
My wife and I went. We were guardians, and it was it's mind blowing.
Yeah.
It
It's hard
really
to
is.
actually articulate just how emotional and great it
Tony
is.
was on the flight.
Yeah.
And the way the two of you had talked about it, it's this much. I mean, he still talks about it.
Yep.
It's
Oh, yeah.
unbelievable,
Yeah.
unbelievable.
Yeah,
And,
and
on
it's-
the way home, I don't know if they do it on all flights, everybody gets an envelope
Yep.
and mail call.
Yep.
And before that happens, the family's been told that you can send letters,
Yep.
and they'll put it in that envelope. And they also receive letters from children throughout the country, from all the schools.
Yep.
What we've said here is just a minute description of it. There is-
That is sort of supposed to be a surprise for the veterans. So Tom, if we could cut that.
I mean, Tony still talks about it. One kid, somebody crocheted him an Afghan. And he still has the Afghan that one of the children gave him as he was entering the bus.
Yeah.
And he still has that. He still has all the notes. The only disturbing part about that, Ed, was he wished that there were people had
Return
put their
addresses.
return
Yeah.
addresses
So he can
on
send
it.
something back, yeah.
Because it was so close to the holidays, he would have loved to send notes out to them,
Yeah.
and there was no way to get back to them.
We'll mention it to them to see if that's
If they
possible.
can, even
but-
a few of them, because they would love to
Well,
get back to them.
the last couple, like when Matt went on it and when I went on it, we put together some flags that were flown over the Capitol, the New York Capitol, but American flags, and gave those to them with a
Unbelievable.
certificate of their final orders.
Great idea.
Right.
Yeah. So
Especially, I got to tell you, especially for our Vietnam veterans, because Vietnam vets can go on now.
They didn't get
We
anything.
want to talk about a complete difference.
Right.
You know, they tell these terrible stories, obviously, and for the Vietnam veterans who are either here or listening, obviously, you experienced it. But coming off a plane, there's no acknowledgement of your service.
No.
That's right.
And then to get off the plane through honor flight to
It's
a welcome
different.
home celebration, that I get chills thinking about it. So it's a cool thing.
Carol's veteran that she was working with was not the original veteran. It was going to be this gentleman Tim, who was in the country house, but he was a submariner, and he said the emotion just at the introduction was too much for him, and he
Yeah.
dropped out of going.
Yeah.
So Carol ended up with Sam. And Sam, African American gentleman out of Yonkers who came home during Vietnam,
Got
was
nothing.
told take off. Well, he was told take off your uniform, and he said absolutely not. And he said they were spitting at him, throwing things at him, and it just to see the amount of people just when you flew into Reagan saying, "Hey,
Yeah.
welcome home," and then when you got back, thank you for your service, welcome home.
Right.
And my veteran for that flight was a friend of mine, Bert, who unfortunately has passed away since, but he was a Korean War vet, and we were sitting. Well, he was sitting in his wheelchair at the Korean War Monument, and we were talking with a Marine gunnery sergeant that was there. And all of a sudden, people started walking up to Bert, shaking his hand, bowing, saying thank you. And it was a group of Asian tourists. And I didn't put two and two together. And the last gentleman was like, thank you for your service. And I was like, I need to ask, where's your group from? He said, oh, we're from South Korea. And then I realized Bert was wearing his placard that said Korean War veteran. And
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
it's the closest I've ever seen a Marine come to crying, and I can tell you there were tears in my eyes.
Yeah.
So
it's a special day.
just
So
amazing
we'll
day.
definitely let everyone know about the events as we get more information. That'll be here in Yorktown. I know we've got some. Brian wants to see if we can get a bus down to support the Welcome Home side of the event. So we'll share all that information as we get more details for anyone who wants to participate to do so. But it's a really special time.
Ed, I just have one more question. When is the next day or time that we're going to be sending packages to our soldiers?
Jim just did Operation Cupid, but I'll be honest with you, he sends them out throughout the year.
Yeah, so we don't stop collecting.
Right, so they never stop collecting with United for the Troops, is what Jenny's asking me about.
I have some stuff that I want to.
Yeah, let me know, or if you want to bring it
you can
here.
bring it here. You know,
I see Jim every Friday morning, so yeah,
I'll
and
drop off here then.
yep.
Okay,
And the
thank-
phone number for Sustainable Westchester, whoever wanted it, if you have your pens ready.
Wait a minute.
Ready?
Yep.
914-242-4725.
Okay, thank you.
Community Solar is the program you want to call about.
Okay.
And I am going to have to bid adieu to everyone, unfortunately. I have a prior engagement that I have to
Okay,
get to.
thank you. We appreciate you being here.
Thank you all.
Thank you, everyone. Great seeing everybody again.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Thank you. Okay, next we have on the agenda, and I'm sure he's going to be very good and pretty brief, is our
That
superintendent
was your hint,
of
Jen.
Yorktown Parks and Recreation, Jim Moderano, Jr.
Those are a couple hard acts to follow, for sure. But yes, I will be brief. We're just very excited, as Matt alluded. We're going to restart our senior clubs. So they've been gone for about 2 years now with the pandemic. But Shrub Oak Seniors has already started Mondays at 10 o'clock at the YCC. So please come there. Excuse me, Al Capolini Community Center. And then Chapter 1 will be starting on Tuesdays at 10 o'clock at the same location. And then AARP will start back up on the second Wednesday of each month, starting, I believe, on the 9th. Is it this Wednesday the 9th? So that's 2:30 for AARP, 2:30 on the second Wednesday of each month going forward. So you'll see my smiling face there letting you into the building at all three of those clubs. So please be aware. I was very happy to have you all back and looking to grow from here. We also have our brochure that will be out on March 15th. It will be out online, and it will be mailed to the houses soon after, which will have all of our senior activities and fitness classes for the spring and summer term. So please look out for that. And that's all I have.
When
for
you say the brochure, you mean the flyer?
you know, the booklet that we send out twice a year.
Okay. Yeah.
Where do we get it?
And that's for the spring and
It'll be in the
summer.
mail.
Obviously, the senior flyer comes out once every 2 months, and that can be found online or at the senior clubs. I'll be bringing those packets, and that only has senior stuff in it.
And some
that
of it
comes
is,
out
I
once
think,
every 2
here,
months.
here as well, right, at Town Hall?
Yep.
Yeah.
We'll have it at Town Hall as well. Any
Okay.
other questions?
No.
All right. Well, thank you all for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jim.
Okay, well, we're happy to see you all. We hope to see you back next month, March 18th. Will be our meeting, the third Friday. Please come back, and if you have any questions or anything, please let us know what you'd like to hear or what you'd like to talk about.
Second Friday. Second Friday. And before you all leave, I would dearly love to have an email distribution list to go out to those of you that do have computers. So if you'd like your name, your email address to be on the distribution list, please please come up and sign this piece of paper for me. Thank you.